It's tier list time. We're going to be doing a tier list for the new Legends Rarity Super Vegito. Hope you watched the whole video so you can give your opinion with my explanation. Made this tier list on stream with over 200 people. Can't please everybody but came to this consensus. Assume all Legends Limiteds are at 9 stars, Ultras at 10 at max, and Sparkings at 14. This is about an average if you invest into everybody. Sparkings are easy to Z power. And besides from that, let me know in the comment section what you think. Let's get into this. Right, so we always start at the bottom with the fan service and the honorable mentions. The fan service, don't take it too seriously. Like I said at the start of this video, I made this tier list on stream, taking in the input of all the viewers, and I mean really taking it in. We sit there for over an hour and I let everybody type out the big paragraphs that they want to defend the characters that they want to defend, etc. So the fan service tier is really just characters people like, which is why I say don't take it seriously. Not thought going into it, it's literally just screen time for people that don't usually get screen time. Anyways, we go into the honorable mentions, and these characters here, they're just outside of the honorable the top 10, sorry, for me at least, and for a lot of the stream. Not everybody's going to be happy, of course. Some people just got edged out, and if I had to mention some, I would mention the likes of Future Gohan. Hybrid Saiyans can be very powerful offensively. I'd also mention the likes of Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. Super Saiyan 4 Goku is going to need a GT member 100%, but GT in itself is somehow, not even somehow, I say somehow because it literally rose to the top only recently, being edged out. And Super Gogeta, just a meta ago, not even a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, Super Gogeta, it was a very valuable green being used to nullify endurances, but I feel like right now he's simply just not as valuable, and that's not because he's per se bad. His element is obviously a big factor, but it's really that there are better options. So in some cases, some people are actually not good enough, but in this case I feel like Super Goji is being shafted by its element, but it's also just better characters to do the job more effectively, because a meta tier list implies the most effective tactic available, and I simply don't think Super Gogeta is that now. Then in regards to the other guys, they're good options, but they're going to be third or fourth string options, third at best. So Zamasu if you want to run powerful opponent, but powerful opponent already has a lot of good units. The resurrection of F-boys, you're really just putting them on. Future Gohan, again with Hybrid Saiyans, but Hybrid Saiyans has very one strict formation when you could do other things with a Hybrid Saiyan, if you get what I'm saying. But that's the honorable mentions and fan service. Let's actually get into the top 10 now. So before I get into this list, right, we're at number 10 and you already see that it's Legends Limited Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta Mini. I want to point out that there's a gap, and I never usually put a gap, but the gap is meant to emphasize how far ahead the top 4 in the game are versus the rest of the list. And I also want to say that the rest of the list, I'm not going to say it's not important, but essentially using the rest of the list is a lot more inefficient than just using the top 4. So the 5 to 10, I'm not even tripping about. If you disagree with it, cool. It doesn't impact the game in any way, shape or form in reality. They're just side characters, the third strings in most cases. Maybe not the number 5, but you might also disagree with the number 5 once we get there. But the 1 to 4, they have super large impact right now, specifically the top 3 anyways. But back to Vegeta, right? Vegeta here, being a element yellow unit, he's pretty safe. There's no red units that are super powerful -1, but for the most part, you know, he is pretty safe to get hit from long combos. Being yellow, he's going to be fighting a type neutral battle in most cases. His main value is 2 things. His blue card, if he hits it, he can do another blue card. And if you have at least the brain, obviously not everybody does. You see a lot of players, they struggle to use units. But with Vegeta, if you can land that blue card, you're going to get another blue card off, and 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 another blue card. Do you see what I'm saying? Because he gets infinite just off that, which is outrageous. Next up, we got to talk about his Rising Rush potential. This guy here puts you in a situation to land the Rising Rush and take out anybody, given that they don't have Revival or KO guard. His Rising Rush deletes all his cards and spawns in one of each card, so it gives you the highest odds of basically having a 1 in 4. And on top of that, you will also be able to nullify endurance. Nullifying endurance and it being uncancelable is very big, especially considering new units that we have right now, such as Super Vegito. You could even count in Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and there's a lot of other endurance units anyways. So yeah, overall his value is his Rising Rush and blue cards, but his element is pretty safe, which takes him on the 10th spot. We could also run him on the Saiyan team, which you'll see with the characters that I have up above this list. At number 9, we've got Fusion 13. Now his element is also very safe because blue could be argued as the safest element in the entire game right now. Fusion 13 is only here for really, let's say 2-3 reasons. So in general, his defenses are not good. They're pretty bad actually, because he's only a Legends Limited and he released, you could say, quite a bit ago, especially with how fast the meta moves, but that doesn't take away his value. So the first thing I want to speak about is his revival layer. Revival, aside from KO guard, is easily the best form of life in Dragon Ball Legends. And that's because no matter how you play, there basically is no anti-revival units in the game. You're not going to run Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta seriously. And let's think about it. Blue Beerus, come on now. So revival is a very safe thing. You have to get through it. There's no way to go around it like you can nullify endurance. You really just have to deal with it. Even with KO guard, you can one tap somebody on the team depending on who's on their team, and then the KO guard just vanishes. It goes poof. But with the revival, you have to wait for it. So it's kind of on the par with KO guard, but KO guard is obviously better because if the units are all defensively good, then it's going to have more value overall. With Fusion 13, it's only for him. So getting through the revival is still a step you have to go for, and if you don't one tap him, that could be very, very annoying long term because he could also be healing. Now, next part is the fact that he breaks combos. He will seal all your blast darts, and that halves your potential of starting a combo just like that. Very, very powerful. You could say it's not really half, it's like 0.25 less, right? Percentage to 25% less, you could say, because it's like 1 of 4, but you're gonna have mostly strikes and blasts, which is why I just said half. And then on top of that, the first time you hit him, he just deletes your deck pretty much, which is very, very annoying. So overall, if you're running him on a very good team, so powerful opponent movies, you could use him very effectively to be a stall man. He will actually be something that you have to get around, unless you're using a character that can literally just destroy him in one hit. In most cases, that's not going to happen. You still have to work to get him out, and depending on how you use your rotations, he could be a very valuable asset in ranked PvP, which is why he's at number 9, even though defensively and offensively, he's not doing that much, but as a third string on your team, he's going to be a very strong brick wall, and playing it safe is the name of the game right now. Survivability, disrupt, while also having offenses, but obviously on the lower end, you kind of have to pick between one or the other. So if we look at Vegeta's all offense, no real defense. But if we look at Fusion 13, he's no real offense, a lot of defense. But if we already have a lot of offensive units higher in the list, offensive powers that are lesser are less valuable than defensive powers like Fusion 13, which is why he's at number 9. And if they could do more of both, then they go even higher in regards to the 8, 6, 7, and 5. So Fusion 13, he's going to be at 9. Next up, we've got Ultra Super Saiyan Goku. It's pretty much for the same reasons as 10 and 9, but combined, which gives him a lot of value in ranked PvP. Unnatural amounts of value. So I spoke about how Super Saiyan Vegeta, Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, offensively, he's good because of his blue cards. Super Saiyan Goku, if his blue card gets built up, he's going to nuke you. Nuke would be an exaggeration, but he's going to do a lot of damage. And he also has the aspect of feint. But then also defensively, we have Fusion 13 who has the KO guard. Fusion 13 has the revival, but then Super Saiyan Goku has the KO guard, which is basically a revival but for the whole team, and it's something you can't go around, which makes it even more valuable. Naturally, he's going to be higher than both of them. His element is also on the safer end, not the safest. We could argue that blue is definitely a safer element, but yellow is very good as well. They're probably top 2 safest elements in the game right now to be. So naturally, he's going to be above the 10 and 9 spot. Could he be argued higher? Potentially, but I feel like he actually isn't good defensively. So if he's going to get hit, he's going to be one of those units that could be getting one tap depending on what red you're using. So you have to be very, very careful. Overall, very good unit, good third string to keep your team alive, but can also do that extra bit of damage that isn't actually bad. It's pretty good. Very valuable unit here. KO guard is a interesting mechanic they decided to add, but it's fun, you know. The animation, you know, won't let you touch Krillin. Can't touch Krillin, man. Shout out Goku for being a good friend. But yeah, we got Super Saiyan Goku at number 8. There's nothing else to really say about him. He's just that. We could also say his combo potential, actually. He could start a good combo with his explosive green, which is nasty. But yeah, Super Saiyan Goku at 8. Now at number 7 and 6, we've got Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Orange Piccolo. Now the way you order them really doesn't matter to me, but they're both here simply because they do a similar job while being green. Green in itself has seen nightmare days just because of Vegito's damage. I kid you not. But these two units are still very good, and to act like they just do nothing would be misinformation. It's just that in the face of Vegito, you should be scared. They're both getting one tap, but not literally. And what do I mean by that? Let's talk about Orange Piccolo first. So Orange Piccolo, he's a revival unit, and I spoke about revival being very valuable when I spoke about Fusion 13. Only naturally do you have to get through his first life. Is Vegito gonna struggle? No. No, but there are other units that are going to struggle, and as a result of that, he's still quite valuable because this is a 3v3 game and not a 1v1 game. So green can still counter every other element, be neutral at the bare minimum, and do good things on the battlefield, defensively and offensively. Orange Piccolo having his platinum equipment recently, he is defensively sound. Like, he's solid. He's going to be a good brick wall. He can do some offensive damage as well. I've seen him do crazy blue card damage, especially post revival, and he breaks the combo post revival. But again, in the face of Vegito, you know, he's not even going to get his gauge off. He's going to get melted. So I don't want to gas him higher than this. Definitely not. Super Saiyan 4 Goku, for the exact same reason, it's just slightly different. So you know how Piccolo has his gauge post revival? Goku basically has a gauge like that. It's a gauge like that all times, right? You get to 3 cards, he steals every single card you have minus the blue card, which means your combo potential is always broken, and if you switch him in at the right times, depending on your rotations, you'll be able to capitalize on stopping the enemy's combo. Obviously, Vegito can still get through, and because he only has endurance, you still have to be careful because that can get nullified in certain situations. But on top of that, Super Saiyan 4 Goku does help out the entire team, which actually makes him a lot better than Piccolo in my opinion. Having the Rise and Rush disrupt, if the enemy Rise and Rushes any of Super Saiyan 4 Goku's allies, he will interrupt it, and that helps out a lot. But the only thing that drags Super Saiyan 4 Goku back, in my opinion, and a lot of people agreed, is the fact that he's restricted to GT, which means that one of your slot members will not be one of the top 4. They will definitely be a GT member, and as you can see, the GT guys on the tier list, they're not looking too good. Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, it's not that his switch attack isn't good or he can't do damage, but he is going to get melted by the likes of Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, literally one tapped. And using him again isn't a bad choice, but you're very vulnerable when you have to use another GT member. And then Super Saiyan 3 Goku over here being purple, a lot of people are looking to use yellows to counter Vegito, and this guy is nowhere near Vegito, so he's gonna get melted too. So having to run a GT member is definitely holding Super Saiyan 4 Goku back, which is why he can't be high on this list. Otherwise, I could argue he's in the top 4 realm, but he's not, just because of that. So that's why I have them at 6 and 7. They do pretty much the same thing in different ways. Can't really gas them more than that. If I had to argue, I'd say Super Saiyan 4 Goku obviously does more damage, but he's not safer given that his endurance can get broken through, and he can get melted. He's more vulnerable to getting melted because the 3 card thing, you might not even get to the point where the 3 cards are hit if Super Saiyan 4, if Super Vegito's in your face, which is obviously unfortunate. So yeah, that's my 7 and 6. I don't really care what order you have them in. They're still good options, just very vulnerable to one unit in specific. What's wrong with me today? Now, you're seeing this Gotenks, and this is not the Gotenks that I'm choosing to represent. It's meant to be the one that recently got a Zenkai. It's obviously not this one. This is a recent Gotenks, but the Gotenks that got a Zenkai is not on this tier list, so just use your brain. You know who I'm talking about. Gotenks, the Zenkai, the one that recently got a Zenkai, is actually insane. And unless you use him or you saw what he could do, you might not believe what I'm saying, especially in the face of these other units. But remember, this is a meta tier list, the most effective tactic available. And even saying that, it doesn't really support my case until I explain why this guy is valuable. Now, him being red, he counters yellow. And I told you before, a lot of people are bringing out yellows to counter Vegito single-handedly. So even though yellow is a generally safe element, there are very few reds to counter those yellows. One of them are in the top 4, but the other option that I found, and the stream agreed, is Gotenks. He is defensively solid. He's good. He can tank. Taking a hit is very big in any meta, but especially this one when there's big hitters. Moving on from that, he's got Disrupt. Moving on from that, he can nuke you. And I mean anybody in the game. Nobody in the game is safe. He's untouchable when he's doing a blue card. I kid you not. One of the most damaging blue cards in the game right now, and it's super consistent. Put some icing on the cake, you also get a feint, which is just nasty. And then on top of that, he synergizes probably the best in the game with the whole top 4. And once you see the top 4, this will make a lot more sense. So a good element, vulnerable really to only Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, offensively good for good reason, similar to Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. He also has good defenses, tanks better than almost all of these guys. Maybe not the greens, but they're vulnerable to purple like I mentioned earlier. The only con about Gotenks, the Zenkai one, is that he's a transforming unit from back in the day, which means that he has a timed transformation, and that you have to be worried about. When I was using him in the stream to actually prove the case that he's actually decent, right, because the chat brought him up, I didn't. My transformation ran out and it lost me the game. I was in a 1v1 and 1 second left. I'm thinking, yeah, I got this. Transformation, bro, it just went out. And I was like, oh, pre-transform, or you could say post-transform. If the transformation runs out, it's grits. This guy is buns. The Zenkai is buns. But post-transform, once he's in the transformation state, right? Once he's in Super Saiyan 3, yo, scary sight. I kid you not, you will see once I mention the top 4, but he's definitely more consistent than the rest of these guys because they all have major vulnerabilities. No survivability, bad defenses, or not the greatest defenses. We got here bad defenses, but absolutely no offenses in addition. We've got here good offenses, decent offenses, not the best defenses, but the KO God's keeping them alive. And then over here, they're just vulnerable as hell, but they're good kits. But this guy is like a balance of all of that, minus the survivability, you know? So just edging him a bit, but maybe I could bring him down to 7-6. But for now, I'm keeping him at 5. I'm really confident with that 5. Now we're talking about the big dogs, the top 4, and Buhan, the weakest in the top 4. The reason he's the weakest, right, and I have to talk about him in the sense that he's the weakest out of the top 4, is simply because he lacks the defensive capabilities. That's literally it. That's the only thing holding him back. Defensive capabilities, no survival, no survivability, no endurance, no revival, nada. Honestly, that holds him back a lot because he does have his counters, right? So you think that'd be enough, but he really needed to counter blue cards in addition. Because he doesn't counter blue cards, he's vulnerable to one of the most powerful units in the game right now, Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, and that unit is being used almost every game. And if you're getting blue carded and you lose all your health, that's going to bug you out. You're going to lose him straight away. He's an ultra, but he's not super ultra in the face of that blue. So honestly, he can't be higher than he is. He does have a good team, good support, you know, powerful opponent, Majin Buu Saga. So he is safe in that regards, and he does his job in stalling the enemy. Obviously, depending on the enemy, lots of enemies can't get around that counter, but again, blue cards are a thing. PVing is also a thing, and rising rushing is also a thing. So in that sense, he's vulnerable, which I can't move him higher for. If he did have that extra layer of protection or he countered blue cards, I could maybe argue him above, but even then, his damage is even on par with the guys that I'm going to talk about in 2, 3, and 1. So he's staying at number 4, but his element is nice besides from when he's in the face of Gohan. Now to end out the video, I've decided to do the big 3 in one go. We've got Gohan at number 1, we got Vegito and Kid Buu joint 2/3. However you want to see it, they're interchangeable, and the stream agreed. Literally 99% of the stream agreed, over 200 people. You're gonna have to hit explanation, and then obviously everything else will fall more into place once you get the explanation for the top 3. Now we're gonna start with Gohan because he transcends these two, and that will make a lot more sense as to why the tier list is looking how it's looking. So let's start with Gohan. Gohan is number 1 because he is the safest unit to run. He is the meta, the most effective tactic available. Why is he the safest? Why is he the meta? Well, everything 2 and 3 do good, he also does good. If it's slightly worse, it's not worse to the point where it's worth trading out, because overall he does a better job at everything. So he's at an average where he can compete with all of these guys. If these guys are number 1 at something, he's literally almost number 1 as well. If they gave him just literally 1% more of that thing that these guys are better than him at, he's basically there as well. So Vegito does the most damage in the game, but Gohan's build-up can lead him to do as much damage as Vegito. Kid Buu's got the survivability and defenses, but Gohan has revival layer, which I spoke about earlier. You have to get through it. So even the endurance is worse than the survivability here. So even if you say Kid Buu's defenses are better, Gohan's defenses aren't even bad. They're probably as good, and then on top of that, he's got a better survivability. Also disrupt here from Gohan because of his gauge. That's also something to consider. The no switching when you touch him, that's also something to consider. The main ability, probably the most convenient main abilities ever, spawning a whole deck of cards from the first main ability pre-transform, and then the blue card, and also taking the vanish when the enemy's last stand in the second life, is very big on the battlefield. Whereas with Vegito and Kid Buu, they have their strengths, but they're not consistent all across the board. Let me also speak about being the safest element in the game. Now, I spoke about Gohan mainly here. Let's talk about Vegito and Kid Buu to argue why Gohan's in an even safer position. Vegito does the highest damage in the game. So who do you not want to get hit by? The highest damaging unit in the game. Which means being super purple, greens are stupidly vulnerable. Which means Gohan has been freed from the shackles of green teams that were running not even a week ago. And because of that, that makes him safer, while Vegito cannot eclipse that value that Gohan has as a result of Vegito existing. So Vegito's existence has benefited Gohan more than he could have imagined, and as a result, Vegito can't eclipse that value. He stays at number 2 at the least. But if Vegito wasn't in the meta right now, Gohan wouldn't be number 1, and that was shown by the green whatever meta you want to run with Orange Piccolo, Fusion, Super Gogeta, also people running Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Green was very strong. People weren't considering Gohan number 1 because he's getting hit by those guys, which makes him less valuable. But now that he's been freed from that pretty much, he can do whatever he wants. So if Vegito didn't exist, we might be arguing Kid Buu as a number 1. But it's not that Kid Buu's bad, it's simply that you can get through his endurance, but his defenses are good. The no switching is insanity, which makes him an absolute sniper to Vegito, which is also holding Vegito back from being number 1. So these two are kind of like holding each other back, but while Vegito is also helping Gohan unknowingly. Does that make sense? Which is why Gohan has to be number 1, while Vegito and Kid Buu hang at number 2, 3, depending on how you want to see them. If you had to ask me, I would high-key take Vegito at number 2 because his value is helping Gohan at number 1, but Kid Buu can also snipe Vegito, which gives him a lot of value. So it's a lot of back and forths, but ultimately the one most in favor here is Gohan when you discuss these 3. Buuhan can't hang with those 3. Survivability and defenses are very, very integral to hanging the big 3. Hopefully that makes sense. I've been here on this one segment for 4 minutes, and honestly, I don't feel like there's any way to see it elsewhere. I could understand you valuing a certain different type of playstyle, but honestly, safety beats all. We've seen it with JP players, we've seen it with the teams running the World Championship, we see it with the God rank players. If you have survivability while being also able to do offensive damage, but sometimes offensive damage just isn't it. I like playing offensively. That's my favorite type of playstyle. My mentality is if you can't get hit, you can't lose, right? That's skill, but the average player isn't going to be able to output that at all times. So we have to value safety because it's the best tactic available, the most effective tactic available. Why would you not use it if you just wanted to win? And because of that, Gohan takes number 1. Vegito and Kid Buu can only be 2/3, but you guys can be the judge of that. I'm taking Vegito 2 personally, but I'm not against Kid Buu being 2. Just Gohan has to be number 1. I usually do an evaluation segment at the end of my videos when I do tier lists, and that's to actually look at what could move depending on how things look at the end, because looking at the whole package when you're done is different from when you're building it. It's easy to judge a finished product versus when you actually go through the hard work to put it all together. But I don't feel like that's necessary because we actually looked at the list in stream. Like I said, we have full discussions. So if you ever see me doing a tier list stream, hop in. You'll be able to have a genuine discussion, even D-rank or go against the whole stream and prove your case in front of 200 people plus. It's really fun. I let people have their whole explanations voiced and elaborated on. So if you care about freedom of speech, my stream when I do a tier list is the place to be. But hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. Like I said at the start, let me know what you think about it. If you haven't already, make sure to press the subscribe button. We're on this grind to 200,000 subscribers. I appreciate you guys for watching, man. My name's Zakashi, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one, man.